My beloved child, there was not a single night when you cried, and I turned my face away. Not once did you bury your face in the darkness and swallow your tears inwardly without me being there. People may only see the calmness on your face, but I see the entire ocean rising beneath your soul. I hear your stifled sobs in the moments when you no longer have the strength to pray in words. And my beloved child, before your tears ever touched the ground, they had already touched my heart. The tears you shed do not disappear into a meaningless emptiness. They rise before my throne like incense from a soul still trying to believe in the midst of pain. You have kept count of my wanderings, put my tears in your bottle. As Psalm 56:8 says, I have never despised your pain. I do not ask you to pretend to be strong in order to be more loved by me. I love you even in the moments when you fall apart the most. My beloved child, I know there have been days when you were exhausted from continuing to walk, while there was hardly any strength left within you. I know what it feels like when you try to keep yourself from collapsing in front of everyone, only daring to break down in silence when night comes. I know how long you have endured. There are sacrifices no one has seen. There are prayers you have repeated so many times that even you began to wonder whether heaven was still listening. But today, I want you to know this. I have heard it all. I have heard not only with the ears of an almighty God, but with the heart of a father. And I am not indifferent to the weariness covering your soul. I am not standing far away, watching you struggle alone. Even in the season when you thought you were most forgotten, I was still quietly working beneath the dark layers of soil that your eyes could not yet see. My beloved child, perhaps right now you feel as though you are standing in the middle of an endless desert. The promises seem too far away. The things you once hoped for now remain only like a faint shadow on the horizon. But hear me. My silence does not mean my absence. There are sacred works that can only be done in the hidden place of waiting. Look at the seed lying deep beneath the soil. In the eyes of people, it seems to have disappeared, buried and forgotten in the darkness. But in that very place, life is quietly moving. In the very place no one can see. Roots begin to grow deeper in preparation for the day when the tree rises to receive the sunlight. You are the same. My beloved child, what I am doing in you right now is not a meaningless delay. It is preparation. Though the vision waits for its appointed time, wait for it. It will surely come. As Habakkuk 2:3 says, my timing never departs from eternal wisdom. People often want the flower to bloom as soon as the seed is planted. But I am the one who knows exactly when your soul is mature enough to carry what I am about to entrust to you. So do not let waiting turn into despair. Let it become the place where your faith takes deeper root. For there are things that can only be learned in the desert where the noise of the world falls away, where you can no longer cling to your own strength, and where you begin to realize that I truly am the source of your life. My beloved child, do not be ashamed of your tears. They are not proof of weakness. They are proof that your soul is still tender before me. Some people suffer for so long that their hearts become hardened, but you still know how to cry. You still know how to seek me in the darkness, and you still hold on to a faint light of faith, however fragile it may be, and that is more beautiful in the eyes of heaven than you realize. Remember Hannah in the temple. She prayed in such bitterness that her lips trembled without making a sound, and people thought she was drunk. But I heard that wordless prayer. I saw the brokenness within her heart, and I turned the place of deepest pain into the place where a miracle was born. Samuel was not only the answer to Hannah's sorrow, he was proof that I can turn tears into destiny. You are the same. My beloved child, the places within you that hurt the most will one day become the places where my light shines most brightly. The dry regions of your soul will not remain desolate forever. I will make streams burst forth in the wilderness. As Isaiah declared, I will cause the very place where you once thought you had completely broken down to become soil that gives birth to comfort for many others. One day, when you look back on this journey, you will not only remember how much you suffered, you will see how my hand held you through everything that seemed determined to drown you. You will understand that there were doors I closed to protect you. There were delays meant to save you from what was not yet right in its timing. There were times I allowed you to wait because I was healing deeper places within you before entrusting you with something new. And then, my beloved child, you will smile in the midst of things that once made you weep, not because you have forgotten the pain, but because at last you will realize this: I never left you for even a single second. My beloved child, open your heart even wider, for what I am preparing to pour out upon your life will not stop with you alone. I am not healing you merely so you can survive seasons of sorrow. I am raising you up so that your life may become a living testimony of my light in this weary world. When I lift you out of the depths, many who are despairing will realize that they too have not been forgotten. When I bind up the broken places within you, other souls who are silently bleeding will begin to believe that restoration is real. You do not fully understand why you had to pass through such long seasons, but I know. I saw from the beginning what your eyes are only now starting to perceive. There are lamps that only truly shine after passing through the night. There are rivers that only find their course after being pressed through narrow rocks. And there are souls that can only truly carry the oil of healing after they themselves have been broken and then restored by me. So do not think that what you have endured is meaningless. I am weaving everything into a harmony greater than your present understanding. All things work together for good for those who love God. As Romans 8:28 says, even on the days when you thought you had been forgotten, I was still placing each stone for what I am about to reveal. My beloved child, the moment in which you now stand is no longer an ordinary moment. In the spiritual realm, movements are taking place that natural eyes cannot yet fully see, like the final grains of sand falling through a heavenly hourglass. The old season is closing, and a new season is opening before you. What had been sealed through many years of prayer, waiting, and tears is beginning to open under the light of the time I have appointed. I am no longer speaking to you only through distant signs. I am drawing you closer to the place where my voice becomes clear within your soul. For you have matured through pain. You have learned to seek me not only when your heart is overflowing with emotion, but also in the driest nights. You have called upon me with your whole soul, not merely with your lips. And it is that quiet devotion that has opened a door in heaven. My beloved child, I have heard every whisper you uttered in the darkness. I even heard the moments when you no longer had the strength to finish a prayer. There were nights when all you could do was call my name through tears, thinking you were speaking into silent emptiness. But no, my beloved child, every cry reached me. You shall call, and the Lord will answer. You shall cry, and he will say, here I am. As Isaiah 58:9 says, today I am answering you with my very presence. No longer through vague distance, no longer through the fog of doubt. I am taking your hand like a father leading his child through a new land. Do not underestimate the tears you have shed in secret. They have not vanished in vain. They have become a fragrance rising before my throne. They have softened the soil of your soul, so that the seed of revelation may now sprout in its appointed season. There are things that can only be born in the hidden place of prayer. There are sacred understandings that come only to those who have learned how to endure in the darkness. You once thought you were too small, too weak to be used by me. Yet that very humility became the key that opened the treasures of heaven. I am not searching for souls who are confident in their own strength. I am searching for those who still know how to kneel in the middle of a long night and call upon my name. You did not walk away when the silence lingered. You did not turn your back, even when there seemed to be no sign before your eyes. And my beloved child, I saw it all. Just as Gideon once believed he was the least in his father's house, yet I called him a mighty warrior while he was still trembling in fear. Just as David was only a forgotten shepherd boy in the fields, yet I had already seen a king within him long before others recognized it. You are the same. What people have not yet seen in you, I have seen since before the foundation of the world. So now, open your heart wide to receive what I am about to do. Do not shrink back because of fear or old feelings of unworthiness. What I am preparing to give you is not merely temporary comfort. I am placing a new mark upon your life, the mark of light, of restoration, of divine calling. When what has long been sealed is finally revealed, that light will not shine upon your soul alone. It will spread like the dawn after a long night, touching others who are lost in despair. You will begin to realize that your life is no longer centered merely on surviving pain. You are being transformed into a lamp for others in the darkness of their own nights. My beloved child, do not fear the greatness of what I am opening before you. I have prepared you through every trial, every season of waiting, every time when it seemed that nothing was changing. Just as clay is refined through fire until it becomes strong enough to hold precious oil, your soul has also been refined through suffering so that it may carry something far more sacred. The days of prayer that no one saw were not in vain. The times you chose to keep believing in the midst of disappointment were not in vain. The seasons when you thought you had been buried were, in truth, the very moments when the roots of your faith were growing deeper into me. And now, my beloved child, I speak to you. The season of sprouting is drawing near. What once lay hidden in darkness will begin to rise beneath the light of the time I have appointed. No one can stop what I have determined to do. No one can shut the door I am opening before you. So rise up with a heart full of hope. Do not look at your own smallness any longer. Look instead at the one who is holding your hand. For I, your God, do not merely hear your cries. I am turning your very story into a light for many others. My beloved child, look at the dawn after a long night and learn my heart from it. Darkness does not last forever, and neither does my righteousness remain hidden forever. It appears at the appointed time like the first light tearing through the night sky. When I bring judgment, I do not act with the reckless anger of humanity. My justice is not born to destroy souls, but to cleanse, restore, and renew what has been twisted by darkness for far too long. Like heavy rain pouring over dry land to wash away years of accumulated dust, my righteousness will sweep through places filled with deception, injustice, and oppression. The silent cries of the righteous, ignored by the world, will not be forgotten before me. The prayers once spoken through tears will become a harvest of righteousness. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. As Matthew 5-6 says, my beloved child, do not fear the moment when I act. Humanity often fears justice because they think only of punishment. But heavenly justice is far deeper than that. When I speak, it is not only to display my power, but to prove that my love has never fallen asleep. You have seen my patience through many long seasons. Now you will see my faithfulness. My voice will not sound like a threat that spreads despair. It will be like thunder announcing the arrival of great rain upon land long scorched by drought. That thunder shakes the earth, not to destroy the harvest, but to prepare the ground for new life to rise. There are things that must be exposed, so true healing can begin. There are shadows that must be brought into the light so chains can finally be broken. I will uncover what has been hidden not to shame the soul, but to rescue it from the power of darkness. My light does not merely shine into dark places, it transforms them. Just as when my son stepped into the tomb of Lazarus, his presence did not simply illuminate the grave, it called life out from death. My beloved child, I am also calling the parts of your life once buried beneath fear, wounds, and injustice to come forth into the light of new life. Therefore, prepare your soul, not with panic, but with vigilance. Be like the soldier who cleans his armor before the hour of battle, like the bride who prepares her oil lamps before the bridegroom arrives. Be dressed for service and keep your lamps burning. As Luke 12:35 says, this is no longer a season of sleeping within old habits. This is the season for your soul to awaken and recognize the movement of heaven all around you. Can you feel it? There are deep stirrings within your soul that you once could not understand. There are moments when it seems as though everything around you is shifting, as if even heaven and earth themselves are waiting for something. That is not by chance. The whole creation has been groaning together in the pains of childbirth until now. As Romans 8:22 says, all creation is longing for the moment when my light will be revealed more clearly. So do not let fear steal away the holy expectation I am planting within you. What is coming is not merely the ending of old things. It is the beginning of a new season. A season of righteousness. A season of restoration. A season in which light will be stronger than darkness and truth will be stronger than deception. My beloved child, when my voice resounds within your life, you will not hear it only with your ears. You will feel it in the deepest places of your soul. It will be like new breath flowing into places that once grew weary. Just as Ezekiel saw the valley of dry bones brought back to life by my breath, I will also revive the places within you that once seemed dead. Hope that had faded will burn brightly again. Faith that had grown weak will rise stronger than before. And you will realize that I do not make promises only to leave them unfinished. I have seen everything. I have heard every cry. I have patiently waited for the appointed time. And now, my beloved child, I am preparing to act. Not one word I have spoken will return empty. Not one seed of faith you planted in tears will be lost. Stand firm in hope. Do not bow before the darkness, shouting throughout this world. For when dawn arrives, the night does not need to be argued away. It simply retreats before the light. And my light is nearer than you think. When that moment comes, you will see that every season of waiting carried meaning. You will see that my justice was never asleep. You will see that my grace is greater than every wound that once covered your life. And above all, you will see that throughout this entire journey, I never once let go of your hand for even a moment. My beloved child, I see the pain you have carried for far too long, so long that your soul has begun to believe living with it is normal. I see the nights when you silently swallowed your tears because of betrayal that came from the very place that was supposed to be your shelter. And my beloved child, I know that kind of pain is different from every other wound. When strangers hurt you, your heart aches. But when those closest to you do it, the very foundation within you begins to shake. For the place that was meant to give safety becomes the place that sows insecurity instead. I know there were words that seemed small yet pierced deeply like blades. There were looks that made you feel as though you would never be enough. There were invisible expectations, forcing you to shrink yourself so others could remain comfortable. And little by little, you learned how to live in silence, how to endure in order to keep the peace, how to smile while inside you were falling apart. But my beloved child, peace built upon the burial of your soul has never been the true peace that comes from heaven. I do not blame you for being weary. A child who grows up lacking love often learns to question their own worth. And many times you have wondered, am I the problem? If only I were better, stronger, quieter. Would they have loved me differently? But today I want to break that lie at its very root. You were never the problem. My beloved child, what others could not give you was never because you lacked value. It was because people can only give what they truly carry within themselves. Those who are deeply wounded often wound others without realizing it. Those who have never been healed often pass their pain from one generation to the next. But I am choosing you to end that cycle. You are the one I am calling to stand up in the middle of old patterns and say, "It ends here." Just as Joseph was betrayed and sold by his own brothers, you too were wounded by those who should have protected you. But remember what Joseph said after everything: "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." As Genesis 50-20 says, "I did not create the betrayal, but I am powerful enough to transform even the darkest things into places where my light is revealed most strongly." My beloved child, see your soul as a cracked clay vessel in the hands of the potter. In the eyes of the world, those cracks are signs of something discarded. But in my hands, they become the very places where I pour gold. Just as the art of kintsugi turns a broken vessel into something more precious than before, I am covering the fractures within you with the gold of grace. Betrayal has not diminished your value. It is becoming the place where my light reflects most clearly. I am bringing into the light the things you once tried to bury deep within yourself. Not so that you would drown in bitterness, but so that truth may set you free. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. As John 8:32 says, I am showing you the words that caused you to doubt yourself for so many years. I am showing you the toxic patterns you once believed were normal. I am opening your eyes to see that there were times when you punished yourself for the faults of others. You were taught to remain silent in order to keep the peace. Taught to endure even while your soul was being crushed. Taught that if you spoke about your pain, you would become the troublemaker. But my beloved child, many of the rules you once lived by did not come from heaven. They were chains passed down through generations of unhealed pain. I did not create you to become a victim of false peace. True peace does not require you to sacrifice the truth of your soul just so others can remain comfortable. I am teaching you that setting boundaries is not rebellion. Speaking about your pain is not selfishness. Refusing to continue living under manipulation is not a lack of love. My beloved child, I am not calling you to become a warrior through the cold hardness of this world. I am calling you to become a warrior of truth. And a true warrior is not someone who has never been broken. A true warrior is one who has fallen, who has wept, who has shattered apart yet still rises again with the light remaining alive within their heart. I know there were times when you feared that if you stopped enduring everything, you would lose the love of others. But any love that demands you lose your own soul was never the love I desired for you. I am leading you out of the cage of people-pleasing and into the freedom of one who knows they are unconditionally loved by the Father. And hear me clearly today, forgiveness does not mean continuing to allow others to wound you. Even Jesus loved everyone, yet he did not entrust his heart to everyone, for he knew all people. As John 2:24 says, you can forgive while still keeping boundaries. You can love without allowing yourself to be crushed again. My beloved child, I am rebuilding the foundation of your soul with materials stronger than your old pain. No longer a foundation built upon fear, shame, or silence, but a foundation of truth, dignity, and your true identity in me. And when that foundation is complete, you will no longer live seeking others to confirm your worth. You will walk as one who knows that heaven itself has called your name. So today, stop seeing yourself as the forgotten child within the family, the one who must always endure in order to be loved. See yourself through my eyes. You are the one chosen to end the old patterns, the one called to bring light into places once filled with darkness, the one who will no longer pass wounds forward, but will carry healing instead. And from the very places where you were wounded most deeply, I will cause the river of life to flow most powerfully. My beloved child, now I want you to understand a profound truth your soul must carry into this new season. The justice of heaven is not like the justice of humanity. People often seek revenge to soothe their own pain. They want to prove who was right and who was wrong. They want to see those who hurt them suffer as they once suffered. But my beloved child, my justice is not born from anger. It is born from holiness and perfect love. Vengeance is mine, I will repay. As Romans 12:19 says, when I speak those words, it is not because I desire to nurture bitterness within you, but because I know your heart was never created to carry the burden of judgment. You were not born to spend your entire life in the role of the wounded one, constantly returning to old memories, searching for proof of your pain. I am drawing you out of that place. I am bringing you into the place of one covered by my hand. If you continue holding on to the need to reclaim justice by your own strength, your soul will remain trapped in the past instead of stepping into the freedom I am opening before you. My beloved child, let me be the judge. I see everything that people do not see. I hear even the cries swallowed in silence. Not one injustice escapes my eyes, but my justice always walks together with mercy. I do not only desire to expose darkness, I desire to heal the soul wounded by it. There are people who hurt you because they themselves are living with wounds that were never healed. That does not make what they did right, but it reminds you that bitterness is not the path I have prepared for your soul. For if pain transforms you into the very thing that once wounded you, darkness will continue passing from one generation to another. So today, I am cutting from your shoulders the burden of trying to carry everything alone. You no longer need to live as the one who must constantly prove how deeply you were hurt. I already know. I have already seen. And I am already healing you. My beloved child, my intervention in your life is not only about healing old wounds. I am redrawing the boundaries of your future. The things that once crushed your soul will no longer have authority over your life. The voices that once made you question your worth will no longer rule over your mind. The old patterns passed down through generations will come to an end with you. Just as I spoke to Israel, you shall yet plant vineyards on the mountains of Samaria. As Jeremiah 31:5 says, I am speaking the same over your life today. This means you will live again. You will rebuild again. You will rejoice again without living in fear that every good thing will be taken away from you. I am leading you into a new land, a land no longer covered by the atmosphere of pressure, manipulation, and old pain. It is a land of spiritual spaciousness, where your soul can finally breathe without shrinking itself merely to survive. In that land, you will no longer bow your head like one who always feels small and wrong. I am teaching you to stand firmly in your true identity, not in pride, not with a hardened heart, but steady like a tree planted beside the waters, fully aware of where it belongs. I know there were nights when you asked, why did I have to endure all of this? Why was I chosen for such heavy trials? And today I answer your soul with this truth, because I chose you to break the old pattern. If no one rises up in the midst of the darkness passed through generations, that darkness will continue forever. But I found within you a soul capable of walking through the fire without losing its light. If you had never experienced betrayal, you would struggle to understand the pain of the betrayed. If you had never walked through injustice, you would struggle to stand firmly in my justice while still holding on to mercy. If you had never been crushed, you would not know how to lift up those who are breaking apart. My beloved child, what you endured was not punishment. It was spiritual training. Just as Joseph was prepared in prison before standing before the throne, just as David was formed in the wilderness before wearing the crown, I have also used difficult seasons to shape within you what could never be learned through words alone. I am building within you a heart that remains tender, yet no longer weak. Eyes that can see clearly without becoming bitter. hands that are strong, yet always used to lift others up rather than wound them. My beloved child, I am not healing you for your life alone. I am building a spiritual foundation upon which many others will one day stand firmly. There are children not yet born who will grow up in light because you dared to break the old pattern. There are souls drowning in despair who will find hope when they see the way you continue walking after everything you have endured. And one day, when you look back on this journey, you will no longer see only seasons of sorrow. You will see my hand woven through every part of it. You will understand that even the fire of testing served your destiny. And with deep gratitude, you will whisper within your soul, "What once sought to destroy me became the very place where God revealed His glory most powerfully." My beloved child, hear me clearly in this very moment. The royalty I have placed within you is not meant for ruling over others the way the world understands power. Heavenly royalty is not measured by standing above others, having greater influence, or making people obey you. True royalty is the ability to see through the eyes of heaven in a world blinded by chaos. It is vision illuminated by the Holy Spirit. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. As Hosea 4:6 says, "Therefore, when I awaken the royal identity within you, I also open your spiritual eyes so you may see beyond the surface of things. That is why you have often sensed things others fail to notice. There are moments when you walk into a room and your soul immediately feels heaviness or peace before anyone has even spoken. There are times when you look into someone's eyes and can feel the pain hidden behind their smile. There are subtle shifts in the atmosphere that you instantly perceive, while those around you remain unaware. My beloved child, that is not a curse. It is a gift. But because you did not understand the source of it, you once believed you were too sensitive, too weak, or too easily affected. No, my child, you are not weak the way you think you are. You are far more awake than many souls around you. Those who carry the mark of spiritual royalty always possess a deeper sensitivity, because they were created to discern, to protect, and to lead through dark seasons, while others see only with natural eyes. You are called to listen to the unseen movements of heaven. Remember the prophet Elijah. He did not find me in the mighty wind, the earthquake, or the fire, but in the still small voice. As 1 Kings 19:12 says, "Those who carry spiritual royalty must learn to hear the whisper in the midst of the world's noise." And that is what I am teaching you. You were not created to become hardened against pain, nor to close your heart and become numb simply to protect yourself. I created you with the ability to feel deeply so you could recognize the breath of the season through which I am moving. There are times when this sensitivity itself has exhausted you. You feel as though you are always carrying the atmosphere of others, always being pulled into the emotions surrounding you. But my beloved child, I am teaching you the difference between carrying light and carrying burdens that do not belong to you. Those who possess royalty do not absorb darkness, they bring light into darkness. You are not called to be consumed by the emotions of this world. You are called to stand in the middle of chaos while still preserving my clarity within you. And now, I want you to understand something even deeper. The awakening growing within you is not only about your own life. It is a sign that a greater awakening is taking place upon this earth. Souls carrying the same spiritual mark as you are being called forth everywhere. Light is calling to light. Destiny is searching for destiny. There are people I am preparing to step into the same season as you, not to pull you backward, but to help build what I am beginning upon the earth. That is why recently your soul has felt compelled to let go of certain old things. There are relationships you once clung to, yet now your heart no longer feels peace near them. There are places that once made you feel as though you belonged, but now they leave your soul feeling suffocated. There are habits that once seemed normal, yet now feel heavy within you. My beloved child, Do not fear this change. When true identity begins to awaken, the soul will naturally release whatever no longer aligns with the new frequency into which I am leading you. That does not mean you are becoming distant or arrogant toward others. It means you are becoming the person I created you to be. Just as an eagle cannot live forever in a chicken coop without eventually feeling suffocated, an awakened soul can no longer find life in the old things that once held it back. And for a season, this may make you feel lonely. But my beloved child, I am not separating you in order to abandon you. I am preparing the way for the right connections, the right spirits, and the right destinies to enter your life in their appointed time. There were voices that once had the power to shake you, but now they no longer hold that same authority. Not because you have become cold-hearted, but because your identity is becoming stronger than the noise surrounding you. There were judgments that once kept you awake at night, but now your soul is beginning to realize that your worth no longer rests in human hands. I am teaching you to live from the affirmation of heaven rather than from the approval of the world. My beloved child, do not resist this process. Do not force yourself to fit again into places I have already called you out of. Do not cling to the old layers of your life while I am opening deeper realms for your soul. Some doors must close so your eyes can learn to seek a greater light. Some voices must fall silent so you may hear my voice more clearly. I am leading you into your true position, a place where you are no longer bound by old definitions, old fears, or old versions of yourself. And as you walk deeper into this awakening, you will understand that you are not losing yourself. You are returning to the person I called by name from the very beginning. My beloved child, open your heart even wider in this moment, for I am leading you into a depth that your soul once only dared to touch in secret dreams. I am about to show you your true place within the spiritual map I wrote from the beginning of time. My beloved child, royal identity is not only about knowing that you are loved or called. It is also about divine positioning, the place where I set you exactly where your soul belongs within my eternal purpose. And once I have positioned a soul, no power of darkness can truly steal it from my hand. No one can snatch them out of my hand. As John 10:28 says, there were seasons when you felt pushed to the margins of life, like someone standing outside watching doors close while others moved forward. You believed you had been forgotten, left behind, excluded from what mattered. But my beloved child, I have never abandoned you for even a single moment. There were places I had to pull you away from, not because you lacked the worth to remain there, but because your soul was destined for something greater than those places could contain. Just as David had to leave the fields to enter the palace, just as Moses had to leave Egypt to be prepared in the wilderness, the shifts taking place in your life are not signs of failure. They are proof that I am repositioning you according to your true identity. The chosen are not abandoned. They are repositioned. And every movement of heaven carries purpose. There are farewells, closed doors, and lonely seasons that seemed meaningless. But in truth, they were all leading you to the exact intersection between your destiny and your true identity. If I had kept you forever in the old place simply because you felt safe there, you would never step into what I had written for your soul before you were even born. My beloved child, there are things within you that can only awaken once you step outside the familiar. There are realms of light that only appear when I pull you away from places too small for your soul. So no longer see change as loss. See it as my hand repositioning you within the map of heaven. And now, I want you to listen with your entire soul, for I am leading you to the most sacred moment of this journey, the moment of commissioning that I appointed for you before you were formed in your mother's womb. This is not merely a passing emotion or a few comforting words for a weary heart. This is a true activation in the spiritual realm. Every season, you have walked through the seasons of silence, testing, brokenness, waiting, and healing is converging into this very moment. Not one tear was meaningless. Not one battle you endured was wasted. Every time you chose to rise instead of surrendering, every time you kept your heart tender in the midst of the world's bitterness, every time you continued seeking me in the darkness, all of it has been preparing your soul for this hour. I do not stand before you today merely to soothe old pain. I stand before you as the King of Heaven to proclaim what has long been written concerning you, not only to heal you once again, but to empower you, not merely to help you continue surviving, but to place you into the position I have reserved for you. My beloved child, how many times have you cried out to me through tears? Father, how long? When will I finally understand the reason for all of this? When will I step into what you have promised? And today, I answer your soul with the very breath of heaven. This is your time, not tomorrow, not some distant season far away. This is the hour when I awaken what has slept within you for far too long. This is the hour when I call the royalty within your soul to rise from the ashes of old seasons. This is the hour when I remove from you the garments of fear, shame, and self-doubt that you have carried for so long. Just as Esther was brought into the palace for such a time as this, as Esther 4:14 says, you too have been guided through every season of your life to arrive at this very moment. You have not wandered off course in your journey. You have walked every step that heaven ordained for you. Even the roads you believed were delays were actually protecting you from stepping into destiny too early, before your soul was mature enough to carry it. Therefore today, my beloved child, stop seeing yourself merely as someone trying to survive another day. Rise in the light of your true identity. I am clothing you with a new garment of spiritual understanding. I am placing the crown of dignity back upon the soul that was wounded by false words spoken against it. I am giving you an affirmation that no voice in this world can erase. You belong to me. You are chosen. You are positioned. You are called by name. And your hour has come. So no longer bow your head. Do not continue living like someone standing on the sidelines of destiny. Step into the position I am opening before you, not with arrogance, but with the holy confidence of one who knows that heaven itself has called their name from the very beginning. My beloved child, engrave this deeply into your soul in the new season I am opening before you. Royalty is not given so you may be exalted above others, but so that through your life, my name may be lifted high upon the earth. If one day the light I place within you causes you to see only yourself, that very light will become a trap. Therefore, when I commission you, I also clothe you with the garment of humility. God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. As James 4:6 says, my beloved child, it is humility that will keep your soul standing firm when great doors begin to open, when influence begins to spread, and when many people are drawn to the light of mine within you, you will walk in spiritual clarity. Yet I will keep your eyes from becoming blinded by that very light. You will touch many souls. Yet I will teach you not to turn that into a throne for your own ego. There are those who begin their journey with a pure heart, only to lose themselves in the applause of the world. I will not allow that to happen to you. If you continue keeping your soul bowed before me, even when people seek to lift you up, my beloved child, I am not elevating you to draw you away from my presence. I am lifting you up so you may stand closer to me than ever before. Every true advancement in the kingdom of heaven is always accompanied by deeper surrender. The more you are entrusted with, the more you must learn to return to the secret place. The wider the doors that open before you, the smaller your heart must remain before me. It is in that hidden place that I will keep the oil upon your soul fresh and overflowing. Do not forget that the river of grace does not flow from the stages of men. It flows from the secret place between you and me. When you continue seeking me in the unseen hours, I will keep your life from running dry in busy seasons. When you place my presence above the recognition of people, I will keep your steps from wandering. And when you continue loving me more than the gifts I place in your hands, I will preserve the purity of your heart through every new influence and opportunity. My beloved child, now listen carefully to what I speak. At the end of this old season and the beginning of the new, you no longer stand in the position of one who only waits. The long season of expectation has come to completion. You are stepping into a season of action. This does not mean there will be no more trials, but it does mean your soul is now ready to walk in new authority. Just as Joshua, after many long years beside Moses, finally heard the command, "Arise, go over this Jordan." As Joshua 1:2 says, you too are being called to cross beyond the old boundaries of delay and self-doubt. I will cause you to feel doors beginning to move around your life. Things once tightly shut will open at the appointed time, not because of your own name or strength, but because of my mark upon your soul. There are places you once looked at from afar, feeling unworthy to enter, but now I myself will lead you into them. There are spaces, opportunities, and connections once beyond your imagination. Yet I have already appointed them for this season. My beloved child, there will be moments when you ask, how could this possibly happen for me? And I will remind you that it is not because you are more perfect than others, but because I prepared you in secret longer than anyone could see. People only see the doors opening, but I saw the nights you wept in prayer, the times you rose again in the midst of despair, the seasons you remained faithful when no one noticed. And it is those hidden things that became the foundation for the doors opening today. You will enter places your soul once only dared to pray about. You will be invited into spaces that once made you think you were too small to belong. But when you step into them, do not carry the posture of someone who still needs to prove their worth. Walk as one who knows they have been sent by the Father, not arrogant, not afraid, only steady in the affirmation of heaven. And my beloved child, I will use you to shift the spiritual atmosphere around those to whom I send you. There are weary places that will begin to feel peace when you are present. There are souls that have lost hope who will rediscover light simply through the way you listen to them. There are people who thought they had been forgotten who will feel seen when you enter their lives with the gentleness I have placed within you. For true light does not need to shout in order to be recognized. It only needs to be present. Remember Joseph in the palace of Egypt. What made him different was not only wisdom, but the atmosphere of heaven that accompanied him. The Lord was with Joseph. As Genesis 39:2 says, that is also what others will sense in you. Not human perfection, but my presence resting upon your life. So today, my beloved child, rise in this new certainty. Do not return to the old season merely because it is familiar. Do not shrink your light to fit the place I have called you out of. Keep walking forward with a humble heart, with your eyes always fixed on me, and with a soul that knows this: you are no longer the one standing outside the door. You are the one called to enter, not to be exalted, but to carry the presence of heaven wherever I send you. My beloved child, what I am doing within your soul does not end with healing your life alone. I am touching a generation through your journey, a generation that has grown far too familiar with kinds of love that leave people exhausted. Familiar with connections called love, but that are, in truth, only dependency wrapped in loneliness and fear. I am building within you a living testimony that true love still exists, a love that does not suffocate, does not manipulate, and does not force the soul to trade its peace in order to be kept. My beloved child, I am making your life a mirror of another kind of love, love that flows from fullness rather than lack. In the past, people often sought one another to fill the emptiness within themselves. But I am teaching you that when the soul is satisfied in me, You no longer love in order to be rescued. You love from the place of having already been rescued. And that is the freest kind of love. We love because He first loved us. As 1 John 4:19 says, others will look at you and see something profoundly different. They will no longer see a weary survivor, no longer a soul trembling before loss or dependent upon human approval. They will see someone who has been rescued from darkness, yet still carries a tender heart. They will see light within your eyes, the light of one who walked through a long night without losing faith. And my beloved child, I did not call you merely to live in quiet safety. Peace is not the final destination of this journey. Peace is the ground upon which I begin to entrust spiritual authority to you. For only when your soul is no longer ruled by chaos can you clearly carry the presence of heaven into the world. I did not create you to remain hidden in a small corner, spending your life trying only to protect yourself from pain. I am calling you to shine not with borrowed light from the world, but with the light born from my presence within you. You will begin to realize that every place your feet touch changes the atmosphere, not because you are trying to appear stronger or holier than others, but because your soul has become a dwelling place for me. You are the temple of the living God. As 2 Corinthians 6:16 says, people will feel peace near you without understanding why. There will be conversations that seem ordinary yet bring healing to someone simply because my light is flowing through your words. There will be people who rediscover hope merely by seeing the way you continue walking after everything you have endured. My beloved child, you do not need to strive to become a prophetic voice for this generation. Your life itself has already become the prophecy. Every breath you carry is evidence that heaven is still moving, that I still rescue, still restore, still open blind eyes, and still raise the fallen to stand again. The tears you once cried in secret are no longer signs of failure. They are becoming the oil of compassion and spiritual power within you. Therefore today I tell you, prepare your heart. A new season is drawing near, not loud like thunder and lightning, but gentle like a song from heaven flowing across a field after the rain. The blessings I am about to pour upon your life will not always arrive in the form you once imagined. They will come through small things you once overlooked, a timely encounter, an unexpected door opening, a word of confirmation touching the deepest places within your heart. You will begin to realize that nothing is random anymore. Everything is being woven together by my hand. Just as Joseph eventually looked back and understood that the years he spent sold into slavery were not abandonment but preparation for a greater destiny, you too will look back upon your life with different eyes. You will see that every loss carried meaning. Every long night was quietly preparing for dawn. The tears once shed upon your knees in prayer were never wasted. They became seeds buried deep in the soil. And now the harvest is drawing near. My beloved child, the day will come when you stand in the field of blessing I promised. And your soul will finally understand this. If not for those seasons of darkness, you would never have known how precious the light truly is. If not for the moments of brokenness, you would never have understood the value of restoration. And then you will smile, not because you will stop asking, why did that happen to me? And instead, your soul will begin to whisper, thank you, Father. Thank you that I did not let you die in the old darkness. Thank you that I kept your heart tender in a world that so easily hardens people. Thank you that I kept your spiritual eyes bright, even through seasons when everything around you seemed unclear. Thank you that even when you wanted to give up, I still did not let go of your hand. So today, my beloved child, lift up your head. That long night did not overcome you. Dawn is already touching your soul, and my light upon your life is becoming clearer than ever before. Keep walking, no longer with the old fear, no longer with the doubt that once bound your feet, no longer carrying the weight of seasons that have passed. Walk as one who knows that heaven has called their name. For I your God, speak to you and say, I have seen your tears. I have heard your silent cries. I have held you through the nights no one saw. And now, I am making all things new in your life. My beloved child, hear me deeply in this moment. Your identity is not something you must spend your whole life chasing after. It is not a medal awarded by human approval, nor a title built from achievements or failures. Identity is something given from heaven before you even knew who you were. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. As Jeremiah 1:5 says, this means that before the world named you by your wounds, your shortcomings, or the times you stumbled, I had already called you by a name that belongs to the light. My beloved child, when I look at you, I do not look with eyes of condemnation the way the world often does. People often define one another by what they have done, right or wrong, by what they have gained or lost. But I see deeper than all of that. I see the mark of royalty I placed within your soul from the very first moment the breath of life touched you. There are days when you feel too small in this vast world, too ordinary to carry anything sacred. But in the very place where you think you are smallest, my strength has the greatest room to be revealed. My power is made perfect in weakness. As 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, I did not choose you because you are always strong. If that were so, you would no longer need me. I chose you because your heart still knows how to return, even after passing through many painful seasons. I did not call you based on perfection, but on the tenderness of a soul that knows how to surrender. Spiritual royalty does not operate by the power structures of the world, where people try to stand above others in order to feel valuable. My royalty operates through purity, humility, and the quiet obedience of the heart. At times, you thought I was coming only to help you rise from old wounds. But my beloved child, I have come to tell you a truth far greater than that. You were never abandoned. Even through seasons when you felt lost in the darkness, I had still placed my mark of protection upon your life, just as I placed the mark of blood upon the doors of Israel in the dark night of Egypt. Your soul has also long been covered by my purpose and my hand. You are not a forgotten child in the chaos of life. You are one marked by heaven. Life has finally become perfect, but because you know who is holding all things in his hands. And now, I am slowly drawing the veils away from your spiritual eyes so you may see what you have carried for so long, but never truly recognized. There are treasures I placed within you that even you have not yet been able to name. There is a quiet perseverance in you that many people cannot understand. They do not know how you have continued to rise after every time life knocked you down. But I know, for I myself placed that strength within your soul. There is a kindness in you that at times you have mistaken for weakness. But my beloved child, that kindness is not frailty. It is the sign of a heart that has not allowed darkness to harden it. In a world that so easily makes people cold, the fact that you have still kept your gentleness is a miracle of grace. There is an ability within you to stand after the storm that even surprises you. You once thought you were merely trying to survive each day, but heaven sees something different. I have been training you for spiritual influence, far greater than you imagined. Just as David was prepared in the wilderness before stepping onto the throne, you too are being trained in seasons no one sees. Every time you remain faithful in loneliness, a part of the royalty within you awakens. Every time you choose light in the midst of darkness, a part of your true identity is restored. Every time you forgive instead of growing bitter, trust instead of despairing, rise instead of surrendering, heaven sees your spiritual authority increasing. The world often sees only outward actions, but I see something deeper, the maturing of your soul. There are people who appear strong before others, but are empty within. But you, my beloved child, I am building something real from the very roots. The difficult seasons have not merely made you stronger, they are shaping you into the likeness of one who is chosen, one who no longer lives only for themselves, but carries my light to others. Remember Joseph, the years of betrayal, slavery, and being forgotten in prison were not meaningless. In the eyes of the world, he was simply someone crushed by life. But in my eyes, every painful season was deepening the vessel so it could one day carry a greater responsibility. You are the same, my beloved child. There are things within you that can only awaken through the fire of testing. And now, in this very moment, I speak what your soul needs to hear. The royalty within you is no longer asleep. It is awakening, not the royalty of pride or control, but the gentle authority of one who knows they belong to me. You will begin to walk differently, no longer with your head bowed like someone asking permission to exist, no longer living as one defined by circumstances. You will stand as one who knows that heaven has placed its hand upon their life. My beloved child, do not fear this awakening. It may cause you to become different from what you once knew. You may no longer fit into the old molds anymore. But that is not because you are losing yourself. It is because, at last, you are becoming the person I created you to be from the very beginning. So today, stop calling yourself by names born from old pain. Do not continue living like one who has been left behind. See yourself through the eyes of heaven. You are chosen, marked, protected, called by name, and my light within you is rising more powerfully than ever before. My beloved child, never think that spiritual royalty is a reward reserved for souls who have never stumbled. If that were so, no one in humanity could stand before me. The royalty I give is not built upon human perfection, but upon dependence upon me. We have this treasure in jars of clay. As 2 Corinthians 4-7 says, it is precisely because you know your own weakness that you have learned to lean upon my strength, and that is where the power of heaven begins to move most mightily. I know there were nights when you looked back over your life and wondered why so many trials seemed to pursue you. At times, you felt as though you had to fight harder than others simply to keep your soul from collapsing. But my beloved child, what you have called a burden has often been the school of spiritual authority. There are things money cannot buy, knowledge cannot create, and human praise cannot give. They are formed only through the refining fire walked through with me. True authority does not come from never having fallen. It comes from rising again in my name after every fall. There were battles that seemed lost because you suffered too much loss, because your heart carried too many wounds. But heaven sees differently. I see that in the midst of everything trying to pull you into bitterness, you still kept your soul tender in my hands. In the midst of darkness trying to make you doubt love itself, you still continued searching for the light. And my beloved child, that is the true victory. The places where you were wounded most deeply are often the very places where I place the strongest seal of royalty. Just as Jacob walked with a limp after wrestling with the angel, yet from that very night received a new name and a new blessing. The wounds you carry are not merely painful memories. They are becoming marks that show you encountered me in the deepest places of your soul. There are people who appear strong, but have never truly been transformed from within. But you, my beloved child, I am building within you a strength that does not come from human willpower, but from my presence. You do not know how many times I, myself, stood behind your every step when you believed you were walking alone. There were days when you thought you had only the last fragments of strength remaining. Yet all along, my hand was still lifting you little by little. And now, as you look back, you will begin to understand why I did not give up on you among so many souls. Not because you were more perfect than others, but because I saw within you a heart that still chose the light after walking through so much darkness. My beloved child, hear this deeply. Spiritual royalty does not begin upon a stage before crowds. It begins in the secret place where no one sees except me. The world often believes strength is found in public recognition. But heaven knows true strength is formed in hidden hours. When you seek me in loneliness, when you pray, though no one applauds or notices, I am weaving an invisible crown upon your soul. When you choose truth instead of compromise, even when it costs you something you wanted to keep, I am placing the sword of light into your hands. When you choose to love while your heart is still hurting, I am placing within you the power to heal others. My beloved child, you do not realize how greatly those small acts resound in the spiritual realm, but I see them all. I record them all, and I use each one to build your future. Just as David was anointed in the fields before anyone could see the king within him, you too are being prepared in hidden places. People may see only the ordinary days of your life, but heaven sees a soul being commissioned little by little through faithfulness. There were nights when you cried and thought no one knew, but I have kept every tear. You have kept my tears in your bottle. As Psalm 56:8 says, not one tear has fallen in vain. They are becoming the oil of anointing for the day I reveal you before the world. And my beloved child, even the sighs you hide in silence have not been forgotten. I am turning them into strength for the day you rise with new clarity. There are things you endure today that will become a healing voice for others tomorrow. For only those who have walked through fire truly know how to lead others out of it. I want you to understand that you are not merely being healed from your past. I am commissioning you for your future. This does not mean you will become someone who is no longer weak or no longer needs me. On the contrary, the deeper you step into true royalty, the more you will realize your need for me in every breath. For the royalty of heaven is not the power to control others. It is the ability to carry my presence into dark places without allowing darkness to consume the light within you. So today, my beloved child, stop seeing your seasons of testing as meaningless. They are becoming the throne upon which I place your spiritual maturity. Do not be ashamed of your old wounds. The very places that once hurt the most will become the places where my light shines through most clearly. And do not continue seeing yourself merely as someone trying to survive another day. You are being prepared for something far greater. For I speak to you and say, you are not only someone who has been pulled out of darkness, you are someone being clothed with the authority of light, not to rule with the pride of the world, but to walk through life as a child who knows they belong to the King of Heaven. My beloved child, stop turning back to stare endlessly at the things I have allowed to pass away. Do not stand in a new field while still carrying the echoes of an old season within your heart. I know there are moments when you still want to ask, Father, why did I have to lose that? Why did that person have to leave? Why did I have to walk through such painful roads? But my beloved child, if you look only at what has left your hands, you will fail to see the new things already beginning to bloom before your eyes. Behold, I am doing a new thing, now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? As Isaiah 43:19 says, look more carefully with the eyes of a soul that has been awakened. What was once broken is being restored, not according to the old pattern you tried to preserve, but according to a pure design from heaven. What was lost is not being replaced with temporary imitations, but with something truer, deeper, and more right. I never close one door without already preparing another gate for you to enter. And my beloved child, you have already passed through the narrow corridor of refinement. You have walked through seasons of feeling suffocated beneath the voices of others, beneath old fears, and within relationships that caused your soul to shrink. But now I am leading you into a wide open place, a place where your light will no longer be overshadowed by anyone else's darkness. In that place, you no longer have to prove your worth. You do not need to run in order to be seen, nor do you need to trade your peace to keep someone from leaving. I am teaching you to live in this simple yet powerful truth. You are already enough in me. Just as the lilies of the field do not need to cry out to prove their beauty, you do not need to force yourself to become what others expect in order to be loved. Consider how the lilies of the field grow. As Matthew 6:28 says, they simply exist in the light I created for them, and that is already beautiful enough. I see that your hands are still trembling. My beloved child, I know there are nights when you want to move forward, yet your heart is still afraid. You fear that if you open your heart again, you will be wounded again. You fear that if you trust one more time, you will lose something once more. But hear me clearly today. Do not be afraid. I am not only teaching you to leave the old behind, I am teaching you to live again. When I cut away, I am also planting something new. When I take something away, I do not leave that empty space vacant forever. When I allow something to end, I have already prepared another life waiting to be born. The farmer does not grieve the seed when he places it into dark soil, because he knows that is how the harvest begins. You are the same. My beloved child, what you once thought was loss was often only a seed being buried for a new season of life. And what I am about to give you is not merely a few brief moments of comfort. I am leading you into the kind of peace the world cannot give and cannot take away from you. A peace that does not depend on who stays or who leaves. A peace that does not depend on whether everything is perfect or not. It is the peace of a soul that knows it is being held by the Father. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. As John 14:27 says, my beloved child, I am not rebuilding your life upon the ruins of old sorrow. I am building you upon the foundation of wisdom, maturity, and trust refined through the fire of testing. You have learned holy silence, knowing when to stop speaking, so you can listen to me. You have learned that not every battle requires a reaction. You have learned that love no longer means losing yourself in order to keep someone else. And now, I am giving you a new season, a season of radiance. But my beloved child, this radiance does not come from finally being recognized by someone else. It does not come from your life appearing perfect in the eyes of others. It comes from your soul being restored by me. From within the darkness, I caused light to rise in you, and that light is no longer borrowed from praise, attention, or incomplete human love. It is light born from my presence. It is light that passed through the fire yet was not consumed, light washed with tears yet never extinguished, light anointed by faith that chose to rise after every fall. And because of this, the light you now carry has a depth it never had before. So today, no longer bow your head in shame because of the scars you carry. Those scars do not make you less beautiful in my eyes. They are proof that darkness once tried to hold you, but failed. They are marks showing that you passed through the fire and still carry the light. Remember that after his resurrection, Jesus still carried the nail marks in his body. Those marks were no longer symbols of defeat, but evidence of victory. Your scars are the same, my beloved child, and I will use the very places within you that once hurt the most to heal others. For those who have never wept deeply may struggle to understand a soul that is breaking. But you have walked through the depths and still kept your heart tender. You have come to know loneliness, loss, waiting, and being lifted by me little by little. Therefore, there is now a precious oil within you, the oil of compassion. I will use you to anoint the broken souls around you, not through grand sermons, but through eyes that know how to listen, through gentleness that does not judge, through the peace that radiates from a life restored. Others will see something in you. They cannot explain that a very real light is living within you. Therefore, my beloved child, keep walking. Do not live as one who keeps longing for the old season. The new season has already opened, and this time, you are not entering it as someone still carrying the chains of the past. You are entering as one who has been rescued from darkness, healed by my love, and now carries within them enough light to guide other souls back home. My beloved child, look at yourself through my eyes now, not through old memories. Your posture is no longer that of someone crushed by life. You no longer carry the presence of a soul that only knows how to endure in silence. I am causing you to walk with the bearing of one who has passed through fire and still kept the light alive within their heart. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned. As Isaiah 43:2 says, my beloved child, the fire was never permitted to destroy you. It was only permitted to refine you. There were seasons when you thought you were about to fall apart completely. But now, as you look back, you will see this miracle. You were not consumed by what once tried to end your life. I used that very fire to make your soul stronger, deeper, and purer. The world often allows sorrow to turn people bitter, but I am turning your sorrow into holiness. You did not pass through darkness to learn revenge. You passed through it to learn how to carry light into places where others are despairing. My beloved child, heaven has been speaking on your behalf for a long time. Perhaps on earth you were misunderstood, condemned, or your story was told falsely. There were people who saw only your weakest moments and used them to define you. But I declare this: the final story of your life does not rest in the mouths of people. It rests in my hands. And now, I am rewriting it with truth. You no longer have to bow your head before false names spoken over you. You no longer have to wear the garment of shame or guilt that others once placed upon your shoulders. I have vindicated your soul in the spiritual realm, not because you have never stumbled, but because the blood of my Son speaks louder than every accusation. There is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ. As Romans 8:1 says, my beloved child, you are stepping out of the season of self-doubt and into the season of spiritual affirmation. This is not an elevation given by human beings, and therefore no one can prevent it. This is a commissioning written from heaven. You may not yet see the full scope of what I am doing, but your soul is already changing. You no longer tremble before the voices that once made you shrink. A new steadiness is forming within you, the steadiness of one who knows the Father stands behind them. And now, my beloved child, I want you to imagine me clothing you with the spiritual armor of heaven, not so you may become combative and seek conflict, but so you may know how to stand firm when darkness tries to return. Put on the whole armor of God. As Ephesians 6:11 says, these are not distant symbolic images. They are realities I am placing upon your soul right now. I am fastening the belt of truth around you. For far too long, you lived among lies about yourself. People told you that you were not good enough, not worthy enough, not strong enough. But my truth will keep your soul standing upright. When you put on truth, every lying voice begins to fall away like ashes. You are no longer defined by old wounds. You are defined by what I speak over you. I am placing the breastplate of righteousness upon your chest. That is the place once pierced by shame, guilt, and self-condemnation. But now, my righteousness covers your heart. No one has the right to use your past to chain your soul any longer. The blood of my Son paid far too great a price for you to continue living as though you were still bound. I place the helmet of salvation upon your head, for I know that the greatest battlefield has often been within your mind. There were days when negative thoughts surrounded you like a storm, causing you to question your worth and your future. But this helmet will guard your mind against invisible accusations. It will remind you that you belong to me, redeemed and protected. I place the shield of faith into your hands. My beloved child, there will be times when the fiery arrows of the past return old memories, old fears, words that once wounded you, but the shield of faith will extinguish them, not because you are strong in your own strength, but because you are learning to trust my word more than your emotions. And finally, I place the sword of the Spirit into your hands, which is my word, not so you may wound others, but so you may cut away every chain of darkness. Even Jesus used the word to face temptation in the wilderness. You too will learn to stand firm through my word rather than through fear. My beloved child, I did not call you out of darkness, only to leave you empty-handed in battle. I am equipping you because I know you are called to stand firm in this new season. But remember this, your true strength is not found in the armor, but in the one who stands beside you in the battle. So today, stop seeing yourself merely as someone who escaped the ashes. See yourself as a warrior refined through fire and now standing in the light of spiritual commissioning. You are no longer a prisoner of the past. You are one equipped, protected, and sent forth by heaven. And as you walk from this day forward, darkness will recognize what your soul is only now beginning to understand. You are no longer as easily defeated as before. You have risen, and I am standing with you. My beloved child, hear clearly what I am speaking over your soul in this very moment. You will not return to the old version of yourself again. The seasons through which I have led you were not meant to end with you returning to live as before, living in fear, avoidance, self-doubt, or shrinking yourself merely to survive. No, my beloved child, I did not rescue you from darkness so you could continue living as though you still belonged to it. You no longer walk as someone simply trying to survive another day. I am opening before you a new territory within your soul, a place where you begin to live as one who knows. Heaven stands behind them. If anyone is in Christ, they are a new creation. As 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, that does not mean the past never existed. It means the past no longer has the authority to define you. Everything that once made you tremble is now becoming the very place I will use to lift you higher. The wounds that once filled you with shame will become the places where my light reflects most powerfully. The seasons when you believed you were being crushed were actually expanding your soul so it could carry something greater. I do not need you to force yourself to become strong according to the ways of the world. True strength is not born from pretending to be invincible. It is born when I make you strong from deep within. My beloved child, stop struggling to maintain your place within the hearts of others. What I have destined for you does not require you to exhaust yourself protecting it. Your true position is not built upon human approval. It is established by the decree of heaven. And what I have sealed, no darkness has the authority to remove. See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. As Isaiah 49:16 says, my beloved child, your value was written upon my hands before the world ever had the chance to place labels upon your life. So today, walk with the peace of one who knows they are no longer alone. Not the fragile peace that depends upon circumstances, but the steadiness of one who knows heaven stands behind every step they take. Your natural eyes may not yet see everything I am doing, but in the spiritual realm, doors have already begun to move. Old chains have already been broken. The accusations once hanging over your mind have already been torn away. From this moment forward, you will no longer drag yourself through the days like one carrying endless wounds. You are learning to walk as one who has been healed and anointed. I am calling the strongest part of you to awaken. There are depths of strength within you that were never awakened because for too long you were focused only on surviving. But now, I am calling that courage to rise. I am breathing new life into your soul, just as I breathed into the valley of dry bones in Ezekiel's vision. Come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe on these slain. that they may live. As Ezekiel 37:9 says, "My beloved child, there are parts of you that once slept beneath the ashes of disappointment, wounds, and exhaustion. But now I am calling that fire to burn again. You are not commissioned because you are more perfect than others. If I used only the perfect, there would be no one left for me to use. I chose you because you belong to me. I am raising you up not to display your own strength, but so your life may become living proof that my grace is stronger than darkness. There are souls out there drowning in the hell of despair, shame, and brokenness, and I will use the very story you once cried over in the night to pull them out of that place. Others will look at you and understand this: if I could restore you, I can restore them as well. For those who have never walked through the depths rarely know how to lead others back into the light. But you, my beloved child, you know the scent of darkness, and now you will carry light there with genuine compassion. You are no longer evidence of failure. You are evidence that darkness cannot keep those who belong to me. There were seasons when hell believed it had won over your life, but today heaven declares the opposite. You are still standing here. Your heart is still tender. Your faith is still burning, and my light within you has never gone out. So from today onward, stop walking with the mindset of a victim. A victim always lives inside the memory of what happened to them. But I am teaching you to walk as a warrior of light, one who knows they have been pulled out of the fire to carry the breath of heaven into the world. That warrior does not need to shout in order to prove their strength. Your presence alone will begin to change the atmosphere around you. For wherever you step with my presence within your soul, darkness will know that it is no longer facing the person you used to be. My beloved child, the old season has ended. The old self has been left behind, and now you are walking as one who has been healed, anointed, and sent by me, my beloved child. I know that feeling has gone deep into your heart like a silent blade. You opened the door of your heart to someone, gave them your trust, and offered them the sincerity you had guarded for so long. You once thought they would be the one to remain when the storms came, but then the very feet you had waited for turned away and walked out of your life. And in that moment, your soul seemed to hear something break within you. I saw it all. My beloved child, I saw the coldness that moved through your heart when you realized the person you trusted was no longer standing beside you. I heard the questions you hid in silence. Was I not good enough? Did I love the wrong way? If I had been different, would they have stayed? But today, I want you to hear this clearly. Your worth is not determined by anyone staying or leaving. Others may not know how to hold the precious gift they were given, but that does not make the gift any less valuable. You are not the cause of every broken thing. Do not place upon your shoulders the burden of every collapse simply because your heart was soft enough to love sincerely. You were simply someone brave enough to open the door for love to enter. And, my beloved child, that courage is not something to be ashamed of. It is a sign that your heart is still alive. There are people who enter your life with hands not yet mature enough to hold a sincere soul like yours. There are people who love with passing emotions rather than faithfulness. But their inability to treasure what I placed within you does not mean you are less precious. A jewel placed in the wrong hands remains a jewel in the eyes of the master jeweler. So today, first, I allow you to grieve. Do not force yourself to be strong immediately. Do not use a smile to cover a wound that is still bleeding. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted. As Psalm 34:18 says, "My beloved child, tears do not make you weak. Often, tears are the way the soul is cleansed from the heavy dust of disappointment. Cry if you need to cry. Lament if your heart needs to speak. I am not afraid of your tenderness. I do not turn my face away from the nights when you bow your head in loneliness. I hold every sob that others never hear. And while you think you are falling apart, I am beginning to heal the deepest places within you. But my beloved child, I do not want this pain to turn you into someone closed off forever. I do not heal you so you can build walls around your heart. I heal you so your heart can be remade, wiser, deeper, yet still able to love. So now, I begin to teach you what you were never properly taught before. Setting boundaries is not selfishness. There were times when you thought love meant enduring everything, always keeping the door open even while you were being wounded. But true love does not require you to sacrifice your soul for someone else's immaturity. When the person who once hurt you returns with the same old patterns, you have the right to protect your heart. You have the right to say, enough. And my beloved child, a no spoken in peace is sometimes the first step toward true healing. Jesus also stepped away from places that did not receive him. He loved everyone, but he did not allow everyone to freely wound his soul. You are allowed to learn this too. Forgiveness does not mean handing the key to your heart back to someone who still does not know how to treasure it. I know there is a part of you that fears if you set boundaries, you will be seen as cold or difficult to love. But no, my beloved child, boundaries are a sign that you are beginning to honor what I created within you. A precious garden always has a gate, not because the garden hates people, but because what is beautiful must be protected. Perhaps today you still remember them. Perhaps there are still empty spaces that make your heart ache unexpectedly. But I want you to know this: their leaving is not the end of your ability to be loved. I do not close one door without preparing a new path for your soul to walk. And the day will come when you look back on that relationship and no longer see only pain. You will see how much you have grown. You will see how I pulled you out of a place that made your soul shrink. You will understand that some people did not stay not because you lacked worth, but because they did not belong to the season I am leading you into. My beloved child, do not let betrayal make you doubt the light within you. Not everyone who leaves takes your value with them. Some people leave only so I can teach you this: the source of love that never truly leaves you is me. And when you learn to lean on me more than on human affirmation, your heart will no longer love in fear. It will love in freedom, in peace, in the certainty that no matter who comes or goes, you are always fully loved within my arms. My beloved child, I know you still carry those fragments of memory within your heart like small yet deep scratches, wounds that seem to have dried over but still make your soul ache whenever they are touched. There are memories that do not make much noise, yet they remain inside you like a tiny stone beneath the foot of a traveler, making every step remind you that you were once hurt. I saw the moment everything collapsed within you, an avoiding gaze, a promise bent out of shape, a cold silence after untruths. I saw the night you wondered why your sincerity had been treated as something cheap. And my beloved child, I do not take that pain lightly. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted. As Psalm 34:18 says, I was near you in every sigh, even when you no longer had the strength to name what you were feeling. Now, when the person who once wounded you returns with eyes that may be full of tears, with an apology that sounds soft like rain after a season of drought, I want you to listen with an awakened soul. Perhaps they truly feel regret. Perhaps they are troubled because they now see the consequences of what they caused. Perhaps they want to make amends, to repair, to pull back what is broken. But my beloved child, gentle words are not enough to heal a deep wound. A single tear does not automatically become true repentance. There are things within the human heart that need time, light, and truth to be drawn out of darkness. Therefore, do not hastily hand your heart back simply because you hear the words you once longed to hear. You will know them by their fruits. As Matthew 7:16 says, Words may soften your heart for a moment, but only fruit reveals the true root. I do not want you to become closed off in bitterness, but neither do I want you to open the door of your soul because of a moment of weakness. Forgiveness is holy, but trust requires wisdom. You can forgive within your heart while still allowing time to test their change. You can bless them while still keeping distance until safety is restored. My beloved child, I will never call you to step back into a place that once made you bleed if that place has not been transformed by truth. Be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. As Matthew 10:16 says, your tenderness must be guarded by discernment, because a healed heart is not a heart easily deceived again, but a heart that knows how to love in the light. True repentance does not only seek forgiveness so the heart can feel lighter. It seeks to face what it has caused, even when that requires the ego to bow low. It does not merely say, I am sorry that you were hurt, but dares to say, I did wrong, and I take responsibility. It does not cry before you and then return to the same old habits. It leaves traces of humility, consistency, and repair through small actions repeated over time. Remember Zacchaeus, the tax collector, who did not merely feel emotional and speak a few words of regret when he encountered me. He stood up and said that if he had cheated anyone, he would repay fourfold. That is repentance with form. That is a changed heart stepping out of words and into action. So, my beloved child, do not ask only, did they apologize? Ask more deeply. Are they willing to let truth transform them? Are they willing to examine the habits that led them into wrongdoing? Are they brave enough to acknowledge specific things? Or do they only speak in vague words to calm the situation? Do they respect your boundaries after apologizing? Or do they rush to pressure you to forget, to trust again, to return to the way things were? A person who is truly repentant will not use their tears to control your decisions. They will give you space. They will understand that trust, once broken, requires time to be rebuilt. They will not demand that you heal at the pace most comfortable for them. I know your heart is easily moved by the pain of others. You do not want anyone to feel rejected. And so, at times, you are tempted to silence every warning inside you simply to ease their discomfort. But my beloved child, do not sacrifice the peace I am restoring within you, merely so another person will not have to face the consequences of what they have done. There are times when the most loving thing is not to reopen the door immediately, but to allow truth enough time to complete its work. To everything there is a season. As Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, there is a season to forgive within your heart, and there is also a season to observe before entrusting someone with your trust again. I also do not want you to walk through this process alone if your heart is still deeply wounded. Seek out wise people who love you with truth and pray for you with pure hearts. Not so they may decide in your place, but so they may help you see clearly what emotions are trying to blur. There are times when a wounded heart can easily confuse genuine repentance with the fear of losing access to you. Those who are mature in the light can stand beside you as witnesses of wisdom, reminding you that you do not need to rush to hand back something that was once broken. Remember Thomas, who could not immediately believe when he heard that I had risen. I did not despise his caution. I allowed him to touch the nail marks, not to condemn him, but so that his faith could rest upon truth. You are the same. My beloved child, I do not condemn you for needing evidence of change. After deep wounds, caution is not a lack of faith. It can be a sign of wisdom born through healing. So today, keep your heart in peace. Do not allow bitterness to lock you away, but neither allow mercy to reopen the door too quickly for what has not yet been transformed. Let me guide you step by step. If the repentance is real, time will make it clearer. If the change is real, Actions will testify louder than words. And if that door no longer belongs to your future, I will also give you enough peace to walk away without feeling cruel. You do not need revenge. You do not need to rush. You do not need to blame yourself. You only need to stay close to me, listen to my voice, and protect what I am healing within you. For your heart is precious, and I will not allow something so precious to be placed again into hands that do not know how to treasure it. My beloved child, I want you to learn how to see beyond temporary tears and emotional words, not because I desire your heart to become suspicious, but because I desire your soul to mature in discernment. A person who truly repents will not only grieve because they lost you, they will grieve because they wounded a precious soul. And that grief will transform them from within rather than merely causing them to repair appearances on the outside. Look carefully at their character after the brokenness. My beloved child, a person genuinely touched by truth becomes softer in their pride. They no longer stand in the posture of defending their ego at all costs. They begin to learn how to bow low. They no longer seek to win the conversation, but to heal what was broken. God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. As James 4:6 says, true repentance always produces humility. You will recognize this not through grand promises, but through small and consistent actions. A person who truly desires to repair what was broken will not merely say they have changed. They will live differently day by day. They will serve instead of endlessly explaining themselves. They will learn to listen instead of constantly defending their actions. They will accept that trust requires time to be rebuilt, rather than pressuring you to believe again, simply so they may feel more comfortable. There are people who apologize only to escape their own guilt, but a person who truly repents will accept the difficult process of restoration as well. They will not become angry because you need time. They will not call your caution coldness. They will understand that a heart once wounded cannot reopen through a single emotional conversation. My beloved child, do not forget what I have taught you about boundaries. Forgiveness does not mean erasing every limit. Forgiveness does not remove the responsibility of the one who did wrong. Forgiveness is the freedom I give your soul, so you are no longer chained by bitterness. But wisdom will determine the level of access another person may regain to your heart. Even I establish boundaries within love. When the people of Israel continually hardened their hearts in the wilderness, I still loved them. Yet I did not allow them to enter the promised land in that condition. Love does not mean ignoring consequences. And my beloved child, you also do not need to sacrifice your healing in order to prove that you know how to forgive. If your soul needs time, then give it time. Do not rush simply because someone else is impatient. A tree struck down by a storm does not stand upright again in a single night. Its roots must recover quietly before it can carry the weight of a new season. Your soul is the same. If you need many months, even many years, to witness lasting change in someone, that does not make you hard-hearted. It is wisdom born through healing. I do not want you to take the empty spaces within your heart and quickly try to fill them with another person's presence. For often, the fear of loneliness causes people to return to what is not yet truly safe for their soul. But, my beloved child, I am teaching you how to remain still within the process of healing, instead of running into someone's arms simply to escape emptiness. To everything, there is a season. As Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, there is a time to open your heart, and there is also a time to stand still and observe. There is a season to reconnect, and there is a season to let go in peace. Do not allow the pressure to go back to the way things were to drown out the gentle warning of the Holy Spirit within your heart. A person who has truly changed will not merely try to regain their old position in your life. They will be willing to begin again from the smallest measure of trust. They will patiently walk step by step instead of demanding that you immediately forget everything that happened. They will understand that restoration is not a bridge built by intense emotions. but by hundreds of small and faithful actions. My beloved child, I am not teaching you to keep distance so you may live in fear. I am teaching you discernment so that your future love may be built upon truth rather than pity or temporary emotions. There are people who cry because they are hurting from losing you, but a truly mature person will allow time itself to prove that they have become someone different. So today, do not feel guilty if you cannot fully reopen the door yet. Do not condemn yourself if your soul still needs greater safety. You do not owe anyone immediate access to the heart I am healing within you. That heart is precious, and I am teaching you to guard it with both love and wisdom. If something truly comes from me, it will not die simply because you take time to discern it. What is real does not fear the light. What is real does not fear time. What is real matures through testing rather than disappearing because it must wait. Therefore, my beloved child, walk slowly but wisely. Forgive with freedom, but trust again with wisdom. And in every step, let me guide your soul, for I love you far too much to allow you to return to a place that is not yet safe for your heart. My beloved child, I want you to understand this deeply, so your soul will stop condemning itself. The doubt they carried within them did not begin with you. It began with wounds inside them that had never been healed. There are people who grew up in the fear of abandonment, and so they distrust even genuine love. There are those who carry memories of past betrayals, and so they view all closeness through defensive eyes. There are people taught false things about their own worth until they no longer believe they can truly be loved in a pure way, and then they place all those echoes upon you, as though you must bear responsibility for the darkness they themselves have never faced. But my beloved child, that is not the truth about you. Do not allow another person's insecurity to become a sentence over your soul. You do not lack love. You do not lack sincerity. What you gave was real, pure, and born from the heart I placed within you. Every good and perfect gift is from above. As James 1:17 says, if you loved with sincerity, do not be ashamed of that simply because someone else was not healed enough to receive it properly. Sin has a very subtle nature. My beloved child, it does not only lead people into wrongdoing, it also distorts the way they see truth. It casts a veil of fear over perception, causing people to react not from reality, but from the ghosts of the past. Perhaps they saw you through the lens of what others once did to them. Perhaps they allowed outside voices to erode the trust they once had in you. But hear me clearly today. Their doubt does not mean you are untrustworthy. Their turning away does not mean the love you gave was not real enough. My beloved child, I want you to see yourself again in the light of truth rather than through the reactions of others. You are my child, created in my image. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. As Psalm 139:14 says, your value does not rise and fall according to the emotions of a relationship. It does not increase when someone stays, nor decrease when someone leaves. Others may change the way they see you after a season of fear or pain, but I, the one who has known you from the secret place, have never once changed my mind about the value I placed within you. So when someone turns away, do not treat it as the final declaration about who you are. See it instead as a sign of where they are standing within their own soul. Some people leave, not because you lack light, but because your light exposes things within them they are not yet ready to face. Some people doubt not because you are unworthy of trust, but because they have not yet learned how to live without being ruled by old fears. And my beloved child, I want you to stop viewing this pain as evidence of failure. It is evidence that you dared to love genuinely. In a world where many people close their hearts to avoid being hurt, you possessed enough courage to give away the most precious thing of all, trust. That does not make you weak. It makes you more like me. For I, too, Continue loving humanity even while knowing I may be rejected. But now, I am also teaching you the art of discernment. Not every voice that rises within your mind comes from truth. There are whispers planted there to make you doubt yourself, doubt your worth, even doubt your ability to be loved. The enemy delights in using pain to write long-lasting lies upon the soul. It wants you to believe, if that person doubted me, then perhaps I truly am not enough. But I am placing the sword of truth into your hands, so you may cut through those thoughts. When a thought arises within you, learn to ask, does this align with what the Father has spoken about me? If it causes you to feel worthless, unlovable, or undeserving of healing, then it does not come from me. For my voice always leads you toward truth, never into condemnation. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. As John 8:32 says, let my word become a greater measure than temporary emotions. Let prayer become the lamp that shines into the shadowed places of your mind. And do not walk alone. My beloved child, I have also given you the community of spiritually mature people, those who love you enough to speak truth, and who carry enough light to see what emotions are trying to hide. I also want to remind you of this. Not every apology is the same as true repentance. Some apologies are offered only to ease a person's guilt. Some are spoken only so they may regain a sense of comfort for themselves. There are people who want forgiveness, but do not want transformation. And my beloved child, you have the right to look for fruit before reopening the door of your heart. If a person truly loves you and truly repents, they will not fear accountability. They will not avoid the consequences of what they have done. They will not use beautiful words to cover responsibility. They will step into the process of restoration through concrete actions, through patience, through humility. They will understand that broken trust is not rebuilt through intense emotions, but through time and consistent faithfulness. Forgiveness is grace, but wisdom is also a responsibility I entrust to you. Protecting your soul is not selfishness. It is holy stewardship that I am teaching you. If you choose to open your heart again, let it happen step by step in the light. No rushing, no pressure born from pity or loneliness. Let every step forward be marked by clear commitment and visible change. And if they truly belong to the season I have prepared for you, they will not fear that process. True love does not avoid truth. It does not only want to be forgiven, it desires to become worthy of trust once more. My beloved child, I want you to hear this with your whole soul. Not everyone who enters your life knows how to treasure the light you carry. There are people who drank from the well of love within you as though it were something ordinary. They received your gentleness, your patience, your support, and gradually forgot that these things were precious gifts, not endless resources for them to consume however they pleased. And my beloved child, I know there were times when you gave so much that you yourself became empty. You once believed that love meant always yielding a little more, enduring a little more, sacrificing a little more in order to preserve the connection. But slowly, your soul began living in a state of silent exhaustion. You tried to keep peace by ignoring your own emotions. You tried to maintain love by continually draining your strength to nourish something no longer being returned in righteousness. And in the process, you began to forget the boundaries I had originally established to protect your soul. So today, my beloved child, I want you to care for your inner life like someone tending a precious garden. Do not allow every thought, every voice, or every emotion to enter without first being examined beneath my light. Nurture your relationship with me each day, not as a dry obligation, but as a child returning to the place where the soul can finally breathe again. There are things you will never fully understand through reason alone, but in the quiet place of prayer, My spirit will begin whispering to you the discernment that the world can never teach. Be still and know that I am God. As Psalm 46:10 says, my beloved child, there are answers that only appear when your soul becomes quiet enough to hear them. So, seek moments free from noise, places where you are no longer pulled in every direction by hurry or temporary emotions. It is in those hidden places that I will show you what is real and what is merely the shadow of emotional need. Read my word like one drinking water in the middle of a desert. Do not come to my word only when confusion overwhelms you. Let it become daily bread for your soul. When your mind is nourished by truth, you will begin to recognize the difference between an apology born from emotional pressure and repentance born from true transformation. For genuine fruit is not found in temporary tears. It is revealed in the way a person chooses to live afterward. You will see that a person who has truly changed does not merely speak differently, they live differently. They behave differently, even in the smallest things. They begin protecting what they once took lightly. They learn faithfulness in the unseen places. Faith without works is dead. As James 2:17 says, my beloved child, true repentance always leaves footprints within a life. Therefore, do not use prayer to pressure yourself into making decisions too quickly, simply to soothe another person's emotions. Let prayer instead illuminate your spiritual eyes. I do not want you to use spirituality as a way to avoid the process of discernment. I want every decision you make to carry both tenderness and wisdom. And my beloved child, do not forget the gift I have prepared for you through the community of faithful people. You were not created to fight alone. There are moments when a wounded heart can easily be led by emotion. But I will place beside you those who love you enough to speak truth. People who are not ruled by your emotions, yet who also will not abandon your soul. People willing to ask difficult questions instead of merely telling you what you wish to hear. People mature enough to see what pain or hope may be blinding you to. Two are better than one. As Ecclesiastes 4:9 says, my beloved child, wisdom often grows in the light of true community. When every step is brought beneath the light of shared prayer and collective discernment, deception finds it difficult to hide. And wherever truth is protected, healing has room to flourish. If the other person truly comes with a repentant heart, not only through words, but through a transformed life, then do not allow bitterness to permanently lock every door. My grace is not afraid of restoration. I am the God who makes new what once seemed broken beyond repair. But my beloved child, true restoration cannot be built upon the old foundation of blindness or lack of boundaries. It must be built upon truth, responsibility, and transparency. If you choose to reopen that door, then open it in the light, not through weakness. Establish clear boundaries. Let there be specific commitments regarding behavior, honesty, and the way the relationship will be protected moving forward. And allow time to test what words are promising. A sincere person will not fear that process. They will not view your boundaries as punishment. They will understand that trust once broken must be rebuilt through patience and long-term faithfulness. But if they avoid responsibility, become irritated by accountability, or wish to return to the way things used to be without walking through true transformation, my beloved child, that is not the sign of mature love. It is a sign that you must continue guarding your soul. I do not want you to live in suspicion, but neither do I want you to return to the kind of innocence that leaves you vulnerable to deeper wounds. I am teaching you a new way of loving, to love in the light, to love through truth, to love while still preserving the dignity and peace I have restored within you. And remember this deeply within your heart. If something truly comes from me, it will not fear the light. It will not fear time, and it will not fear responsibility. What is real will mature through testing. What is real will stand firm beneath the light of truth. And what is real will draw you closer to me, not pull you away from the peace of your soul. My beloved child, if today you are desperately asking for a sign from heaven, then let your heart grow quiet and hear what I am speaking to you now. Not a single moment that has led you here has been accidental. The words you are reading did not appear in your life like a passing wind without purpose. I heard your choked whispers in the night, long before your lips ever formed them into words. I heard even the prayers you never managed to speak aloud, the sighs you hid behind your smile, the nights you lay silently in the darkness, wondering, Father, do you still truly see me? And now I answer you with the tenderness of a father who has never once taken his eyes off the child he loves. My beloved child, this is the sign you have been asking for. Not thunder roaring across the sky, not a miracle that shakes the earth, but my voice touching the deepest place within your soul and saying, you are not abandoned. I have never left you alone in the chaos of life. Even when you could not feel me, my hand was still upon your life. I have called you by name. You are mine. As Isaiah 43:1 says, you belong to me long before the world placed labels of failure, pain, or inadequacy upon you. I know the spirals of anxiety that have exhausted your mind. I have seen the days you forced yourself to appear strong simply so you would not collapse in front of others. I have seen the way you tried to fulfill every expectation, tried to outrun the fear within you, tried to prove that you were worthy of love. But the faster you ran, the more exhausted your soul became. There were nights when you lay down feeling so empty that you no longer even knew what you were truly searching for. And it is right there, in that place, that I come near to you and say, stop. Stop, not because you have failed. Stop, because I did not create you to spend your entire life exhausted. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. As Matthew 11:28 says, I am not calling you to me in order to punish you for your moments of weakness. I am calling you to embrace the soul that has gone far too long without true rest. My beloved child, I see you more clearly than anyone else ever has. People only see the parts of you that are visible on the outside, but I see through every mask of strength you try to wear. I see the wounds you carefully hide behind your calmness. I see the fear of rejection that drives you to try harder than necessary. I even see the dreams you buried deep within yourself because hoping and then being disappointed hurt too much. But hear me. None of these things make me love you any less. My love for you does not rise and fall according to your successes or failures. It does not grow greater when you do well, nor diminish when you stumble. That love began long before you even knew your own name. Just as I spoke to the prophet Jeremiah, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. As Jeremiah 1-5 says, you are not an accident. You are an intention loved before the foundation of the world. My beloved child, perhaps you have become accustomed to living as though you must carry everything alone. You believed that if you were not strong, no one would hold you together. But I do not want you to continue living like someone constantly fighting just to survive. I want you to learn how to rest your head upon me in peace. Just as the Apostle John rested against the chest of my son at the Last Supper, not because he was more perfect than the others, but because he knew he was loved. I also want you to understand that the transformation you have been praying for does not begin with every circumstance instantly changing. It begins in the place where your soul realizes that you no longer have to live like an orphan. You have a father, and your father is here. When that truth sinks deeply into your heart, fear will slowly lose its power. You will stop chasing the approval of the world to fill the emptiness that only I can heal. You will no longer need to constantly prove your worth to other people. For the one who knows they are loved by the Father does not live in desperation to be accepted. Let me touch the most exhausted part of you right now. Let me enter the inner rooms you have kept locked away for so long. Do not be afraid if your tears begin to fall. Some healings begin the moment the soul stops pretending to be fine. David wept. Elijah collapsed in exhaustion beneath the broom tree. Even my son in the Garden of Gethsemane suffered so deeply that his sweat became like drops of blood. I am not ashamed of your weakness. I meet you right there within it. And today, I want you to stop seeing yourself through the lens of old disappointments. You are not the things that once wounded you. You are not the moments when others turned away. You are not the mistakes of your past. You are the child I am still patiently shaping through grace and love. So, my beloved child, do not fear stepping into the new season I am opening before you. The transformation has already begun, not somewhere outside of you, but within your heart at this very moment, as you begin to believe that you are truly loved, truly seen, and truly held. And I speak to you once again with the unchanging tenderness of heaven. You are not abandoned. Not yesterday, not today, and never will you be.